Woo! Hi there, Facebook. I think you know who I am. I'm not sure who I am after the game I just watched. I'm about to talk about that finish. In a few minutes, I'll talk a little bit about Cowboys Raiders coming up on NBC. Got the game up, sound down. My sound's about to be wide open. What a game. As you settle in, quick cameo from my quote-unquote daughter, my only child, Hazel, the Maltese of Ernestine and I. Ernestine, her mom is out Christmas shopping, so I got Hazel in my right arm. It's just the two of us watching Tom Brady. She's a little out of her mind too, because she doesn't really quite comprehend why quote-unquote dad was so out of his mind, but she's okay, I think. Here she is. Hazel. Hi, how are you? Look, it's Facebook. Look, did you have fun watching Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger? Look, Hazel, say hi to Facebook. It's your close-up. There you go. How you doing? You're kind of freaked, aren't you? It's okay. Dad's okay now. You got it? Okay, I'm going to let you down. We go wait for Mom by the door. She's coming right back. There you go. Way to go, Hazel. I think she's going to stay in here and watch Dad do Facebook Live. I'm going to have to process this overnight ahead of Undisputed tomorrow from 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1, about a mile from where I'm speaking right now in our place in Century City, west side of Los Angeles. Fox studio down on Pico at Avenue of the Stars. I will be down there very early in the morning, getting ready for a 6:30 Pacific time kickoff of Undisputed. I cannot wait. It might get as crazy as this game, but I'm going to have to process this. I don't want to overreact, but to me, as big regular season games go, that was as wild a finish as I can ever remember. Ever remember. I'm sure there's something that compares. I haven't even gone back through the Rolodex, back through the memory files yet. I might be being prisoner of the moment, but given the stakes of that game, given the fact that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback ever, still playing at the very highest level against the quarterback who has been the best so far this year, although I think Brady's right there with him, but Ben Roethlisberger's been really good. Hazel's got mine. I laid out mine. Hold on. I laid out my sweatpants for tomorrow to go to the show, and she's got a hold of them. Nope. Sorry. Hazel, no. Here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go get your mom. She's coming right through the front door. Sorry, Hazel's in one of her moods. I think she wants to get another cameo back on Facebook, so she's tearing up my clothes. I just can't remember a crazier finish between two great quarterbacks, one of them the greatest ever, who just played one of his greatest games with one of his greatest finishes ever, a late touchdown drive and a two-point conversion to put them up by 3 and leave, 56 seconds left? I don't have a lot of respect for this Patriot defense, but I thought 56 seconds left, Ben without his wavelength magical receiver, Antonio Brown. Have those two, I compared it last Monday on Undisputed. I said this and people thought I was out of my mind, but that's okay. To me, there is electric, a clutch, deep threat tandem in crunch time as I can remember back to Montana to Rice. You just couldn't stop those two in the clutch. I know there was Randy Moss in between. It was Culpepper. Then obviously Moss and Brady had their record-breaking year. But these guys have been just working straight magic all year. And so, again, Ben didn't have Antonio, and I wish that's the only flaw in this game. Ben lost his go-to guy. Ben still has a flying circus of receivers. Oh no, Hazel's got my top for tomorrow. Hang on, Hazel. Hang on. Nope, don't tear it up. Don't tear it up. Nope. She's got my workout top that I laid out for tomorrow. Okay, hold on. Let me get this top out of the way. Hazel, go get your mom. Go get your mom. It's okay. She's feeling like she played the football game, so now she's got to work off a little energy. But that's the only flaw in the ointment of this great game, is that there was no Antonio, obviously, and I hated to see that because I wanted teams to be strength versus strength. But listen, Martavis and Juju are sensational, still very young players. Martavis hasn't played all that much, obviously, and he made, in the first half, 2 just terrific catches. One, the dive on a ball that I was just sure was thrown too far, and he took off, 6'3", and snagged it, prone to the ground, laid completely out for it. And then he had the one-hand snag for the touchdown, and he's hard to deal with. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think he's going to be a star. I think he might be the steal of the draft. My goodness. And so he gets loose late on just a little simple cross. Eric Rowe gets bumped and loses him, and then 3 DBs miss him on the sideline, and he is off to the races. And I was horrified because it looked like it was going to cancel another all-time clutch drive by Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever. And I have to sit. I had to sit. I already predicted. I predicted on Twitter. I had to sit last Tuesday and hear debater after debater on Undisputed tell me that this is the beginning of the end. Remember, obviously, last Monday, Brady lost to Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt University, best school in America. Thank you very much. But Cutler played great. Brady didn't. Were they looking ahead? I don't think they're good enough to look ahead. I think they just have a hard time in Miami late in the season. It's not that it was that hot there because it was a night game and it was actually pretty coolish, but they just have a hard time. They don't match up well with Miami because Miami can flat out get after Tom Brady, and so could the Steelers today. They were all over him. That's why Brady threw for nearly 300 yards, and they couldn't protect him. Does anybody I was thankful that Tony Romo kept saying, this is such high-level performance by Tom Brady, because I don't think people understand, because they resent Tom Brady. They're jealous of Tom Brady. They hate Tom Brady. They won't give him any credit. He gets no credit on my show. Just no credit except for me, and I'm going to fight for him tomorrow. But all I heard was, that's it, beginning of the end, washed up. There's no way they should have even won this game today. Think about it going in. Tom Brady hasn't been protected much all year. He doesn't even have Chris Hogan today. He's down Edelman, obviously. He's down Malcolm Mitchell from last year, who at least was starting to come alive as a credible threat. Hazel, come here. Hang on. Now Hazel's over here. Come on, Hazel. Come on. She is just wreaking havoc. I'm sorry for that. But Brady's down. Chris Hogan tried to play at Miami. He's inactive. He's got a busted shoulder. And so it's Amendola, and obviously Gronk missed the Miami game with the suspension. And it was pretty much Gronk or bust. I know there was a little Brandon Cooks in there, occasional Philip Dorsett. They even lost Rex Burkhead, who can be a very dangerous receiver. And I think James White, I couldn't track this, but I think he got dinged and was out for the rest of the game. So it became Dion Lewis and Gronk and Brandon Cooks. Dwayne Allen's just been, I don't know if I want to go to bust, but he's been a major disappointment. Brady just goes in with one arm tied behind his back. He just doesn't have that much to work with. I mean, Gronkowski is tremendous, but they can't take Gronk away. I mean, trust me, if Belichick were on the other side coaching Pittsburgh's defense, there's no way Gronk does what he does at the end of the game. They just say no and make Brandon Cooks beat you or somebody, flipping it to Dion Lewis out of the backfield. I love Mike Tomlin. If I were an NFL player, I'd want to play for Mike Tomlin. I don't really care for Belichick, but Mike Tomlin just can't get it right, and that's his forte, his defense. But they tried everything. They threw the kitchen sink at Tom Brady. They finally mixed it up after all these years and all these touchdown passes. What was Brady going in against Pittsburgh? 29-3, 29 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. And they did force him into one ugly interception, but they mixed it up, and they tried to play man, they played to zone, and Tony Romo was very good today on the telecast because the problem is they're not the Ravens. They don't do this for a living. They don't mix it up for a living against Tom Brady. They don't know man. They play zone. And in the end, it looked like they reverted to just playing zone because it's what they know and what they're most comfortable with. And all of a sudden, there were a couple third downs where clearly Gronk was just straight man-to-man, and he was man on the fade for the two-point conversion. But anyway, they're trying to mix it up, and they mixed themselves up, I thought. And Tom Brady was just masterful. Another masterpiece from the most masterful runner of an offense I've ever seen. And I was a huge Montana fan. There were for years, I just thought I'd never give in on Joe Montana, and this guy's unbelievable. At 40, he's playing at as high a level as ever. This was unbelievable. This was off the charts. This is in the rain at Pittsburgh against, obviously the hottest team in the AFC for home field advantage. Coming off your worst performance of the year, although the debacle against Kansas City was pretty bad. But a week ago on Undisputed, on Monday, before the Monday night game, I said, I'm leaning toward picking Pittsburgh. They're just better than New England. And then Brady has a stinker on Monday night, and then I came back on Tuesday and I said, whoops, take 2 on this one because Tom Brady's not going to lose 2 in a row, and he's not going to stink it up twice in a row. And I was right about that, but that's not too hard. I wasn't going out on a big limb. He's just not going to stink it up twice in a row. Not with all the chips on the table. This guy is as clutch. He's the clutchest performer ever to me. And again, you're talking right now to the biggest Michael Jordan fan ever. But Brady has proven to be even more clutch than Michael just because Brady's had so many more opportunities on big stages. I mean, Michael was all-time, and there'd be years where if you told me I was going to say somebody was more clutch than Michael Jordan, I would have just laughed at you. I would have scoffed. I've been outraged because I fought for Jordan, especially over LeBron James, so many times on Undisputed, and I will continue to do just that. But listen, what Brady keeps doing late in games, in Super Bowls, it's the biggest stage in American sports, is just phenomenal. You realize in his last 2 Super Bowls against the Legion of Boom, when it was still the Legion of Boom, I know it got boomed today by the Los Angeles Rams, but what Tom Brady did to the Legion of Boom, 13 of 15 in the fourth quarter of that Super Bowl for 124 yards. They're down 24-14. He brings them back. I know, is it run or pass at the end of the game? I don't know. I still don't mind Seattle throwing the football. I minded the play call, but you got to give that little undrafted kid from West Alabama, you got to give him some credit. Is that not the greatest defensive break on the ball by a guy who didn't even play in much of the game? Malcolm Butler, and just blows through, what was his name, Ricardo Lockett, and just steals it. I mean, it was just a great defensive play. It was a good pass. It was right on the button, and he made a great break on the ball. But the point is, don't overshadow, don't sweep under the carpet what Tom Brady did in the fourth quarter of that game, mostly throwing to Julian Edelman, who hasn't had all year. And do not sweep under the carpet. Don't make it all about Atlanta's collapse. He was at least as good in the fourth quarter and overtime against the Falcons. That was sensational stuff. It's huge pressure. It's impossible. And he just keeps doing it over and over and over. And that last drive, it's another one you put up on the mantle and say, voila, way to go, Tom. And yet, 56 seconds left, and I'm thinking, okay, surely they can at least hold Ben to a field goal. And Boswell's just been clutch money and Gostkowski has not. He missed the extra point, so they're playing sort of a point behind, and they go down and not only get the touchdown, but they get the 2-point conversion. So now it's a 3-point game, and I'm thinking just make them grind. Make them, give them some 10-yard plays, but don't let him get in field goal range, or at least make him make a 50-yarder, because it's hard to kick there. And I know he's a clutch kid, and he'd already made a clutch, about a 50-yarder in this game. But I thought, just make him grind, and then he flips it to Juju on the crossing route, and he's off to the races. They were lucky to get him down at the 10-yard line. So now we get to the moment of truth. Now we get to Roethlisberger to Jesse James. And I guess you could say Jesse James got robbed, which is the backword of Jesse James, the outlaw who robbed a whole lot of people of a whole lot of money. Now we're to what happened to my team, the Dallas Cowboys, at Lambeau Field a couple of years back in the playoffs. What are we going back to? 3 years ago in the playoffs. Des Bryant, throw up the X. I can't do it holding my phone, but it was the most outrageous playoff robbery I've ever seen. Obviously, I'm a lifelong Cowboy fan, but Des catches it, makes a football move. He ran like a step and a half with the football, and he's trying to slam it. He's left-handed, so he's trying to slam it on the goal line at Lambeau, the way running backs take the ball over the goal line and try to slam it in for the touchdown. Running backs don't have to complete the catch. They've already been handed the football. And Des clearly had the football, is running with the football, and just tries to take one hand and hammer it across the goal line. And obviously, when the ball hits the ground, it bounces. Well, he had completed the catch already. And in this case, Jesse James had completed the catch. I mean, I got it by the letter of the law, the way they call it. That was not a catch, because clearly as he tries to just hammer the ball down into the turf across the goal line for the winning touchdown, or it could have been, Brady still had 28 seconds left. There it was, and hang on just a second, I'm going to shut this door now that I think my little quote-unquote daughter Hazel, our Maltese, is gone. She went out to look for her mom. And I get by the letter of the law, he didn't complete the catch. But what's the eye test tell you? What's the spirit of football tell you? I got to tell you, they got robbed, because he caught it. He slams it down. It's a touchdown. It's just such a bad rule. They're going to have to address this because they look foolish. And I must admit, I feel sorry for the Steelers fans tonight. As big a Brady fan, I'm not so much a New England fan. I'm just a Brady fan, because I think he gets a raw deal. I thought he got a really raw deal during Deflategate. We did it on Friday on Undisputed. Did it taint his legacy? To me, absolutely not. I don't want to go off on a big soapbox tangent here, but I feel sorry for the Pittsburgh Steelers because they effectively won the game. Now, again, am I writing Tom Brady off with 28 seconds left? But I'm pretty sure Boswell is going to kick the point, so Brady's going to have to be down 4, and he's going to have to go, who knows, like 75 yards probably, to score a touchdown in 28 seconds. Is he capable? Yes. Would it be long odds? You better believe it, and I wouldn't probably love the odds in 28 seconds of going down and scoring a touchdown. Would I give him a shot? I'd give him a shot, but just a long shot. So the point is, the Steelers probably would have won the game if they allowed the touchdown. And I was surprised Jim Nantz and Romo didn't get it at the first, but it was clear when he goes down in the turf, the ball bobbles. It came a little loose. It came loose enough that by the letter of the law, the way they call it now, it was pretty clear to me they were going to say no. And they said no. So now the weight of the NFL world, the AFC world anyway, falls back on Ben's shoulders. And they run a play, and the clock's ticking. They don't have any timeouts. And I would have probably spiked it, but I think Romo, who's got rambling gambler in him to a fault, cost me a lot of games. He just said, go ahead and run it. Just signal the play, and he wants them to run fades. It's just it's a fire drill. And I think Pittsburgh would have been much better suited if they'd called timeout. Or, I'm sorry, spike the ball, because they didn't have any timeouts. But spike the ball and try to get organized again, because it's just helter-skelter everywhere. And I think Ben's head was helter-skelter, even though he's really good extemporaneous. And obviously, he beats the rush up the middle the way Brady did on his touchdown pass to Brandon Cooks. And there's a second. First, I thought he might try to run with it, and then he fires it into traffic, and Eric Rowe, who busted the assignment, he just kind of got picked is what happened, but he was the cover man on the long Juju pass that looked like it was going to win the game. And Eric Rowe made a hellacious dive, sort of a Malcolm Butler-esque play in the end zone, in that he just laid out and extended out and got his hand on the ball and knocked it up in the air. And Deron Harmon, who's kind of the new leader of the secondary, intercepted in the end zone. The game's over. Do I feel sorry for? I do. I feel sorry for Pittsburgh. My emotions are so mixed because it was such an incredible finish, and I don't want to see Tom Brady get lost in the shuffle here. He was magnificent. This has never happened. No quarterback's ever played. Brett Favre had a great age 40 year. What was it? 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. And they lost, obviously, in the NFC Championship game, in the Bounty Gate game, when Brett Favre got the you-know-what kicked out of him by the Saints, who went on to win the Super Bowl. And yet, I know he's had 2 bad games, but to me, I'm going to fight for this tomorrow on Undisputed. Tom Brady just took the MVP lead. I know my man Shannon Sharp on Undisputed. Again, we're on 9:30 to noon Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. I will see you tomorrow, but he keeps hanging on and fighting for Carson Wentz, and I'm so sorry what happened to Carson Wentz. I don't like to see anybody go down. I'm a Cowboy fan, so I root against the Eagles because I don't like the Eagles. I never have. I dislike the Eagles more than I dislike the Redskins or dislike the Giants. I met some guys the other day on the golf course who came up and introduced themselves to me, and they were both Giants fans. And I told both of them, I don't hate you guys. They hate the Cowboys, and they were just making fun of it. It was all in good spirits, but I said, I just have never hated the Giants. I don't like the Redskins because that's the biggest rivalry for the Cowboys, but I hate the Eagles. I just always have. I hate their attitude. I don't like their fans. I just don't like anything about them. And yet Carson Wentz seems like a really good kid, spiritual kid, tough kid, and he got a tough break. And he's gone for the year. And yet, did you see what their defense did today? Shannon Sharp will hear about this tomorrow. Their defense, what did Eli throw for? Like 500 yards. They gave up 500 yards. That was a bad sign. Nick Foles played. He's pretty good. He's always been pretty good. Might he turn into Foles' goal with the playoffs on the line? He actually played pretty well in that playoff game against the Saints at the end of that Chip Kelly year, when he had such a good year, when they played at home in that very cold, I think it was a Saturday night wild card game. Do you remember that? Foles played pretty well. They lost at the end of the game. Darren Sproles had a big game. Didn't he have a big return for, seemed like he had a big return for the Saints that helped win the game. I believe the score is 26-24. So Nick Foles is pretty good. Can they be about as good with Nick Foles as they would have been with Carson Wentz? Maybe. But that defense, I've never bought into it the whole year. I know they've had their flashes and their moments, but man, to give up that many yards to the Giants. Remember, the Giants scored 24 points on them at Philly in the fourth quarter. That's just a bad sign. So to sum up, before I get to the Dallas Cowboys, what I saw today, I just can't remember a wilder finish to a crucial game of the year in either the AFC or the NFC as that one. Maybe I'll sit through the Cowboy game and remember that happened or something, but that was some greatness on display now. As controversial it is, and I'll agree with you, Pittsburgh got robbed. They just got robbed. But does that discount what Tom Brady did? Man, no, it does not. Tom Brady is your NFL MVP. You can take that to the undisputed bank. I'm sure we will argue that, or I will get flack about that tomorrow. But I just think it's pretty obvious. That team's got nothing. You saw what happened to the defense today. They lost Dante Hightower, their quarterback and their best player on defense. They didn't have Kyle Van Noy, who's been their best front seven player all year. The secondary's been hit and miss. I'm still not sold on Stephon Gilmore. I know he's a big-ticket item on free agency, is the best cornerback available. I'm just not buying him. I don't know. There's something missing there. He had a missed tackle today where he just wimped out. Man, it's just hard for Brady to do what Brady did all year, to get this team in position to win the AFC and have home field advantage is just staggering to me. I still got a couple games to go, which brings me to the Dallas Cowboys as I see shots of Jason Witten, Dak Prescott. I believe the Cowboys are going to win out, and I believe this will be another step toward that, and this will be the final step toward Ezekiel Elliott's return. Now he's doing a big video of his, sort of a documentary of his time, and we were told on Undisputed he broke the story. Eric Dickerson was called by Ezekiel's agent to come and give him a little sort of pep talk / big brother mentoring sort of words of wisdom. And Eric did just that. Eric went to Cabo last week, and so Zeke, who was said to be, I think it was Stephen Jones, said he was going to Europe for his 6 weeks off, but he spent the whole 6 weeks in, I don't think Cabo San Lucas is in Europe, but maybe I'm mixed up. I'm pretty good at Jeopardy, but I don't think it's, the last time I checked, it was in Mexico. What's that called over there? Is that the Yucatan Peninsula? I think it is. Anyway, it's straight down south from where I am in Los Angeles, California, and so he spent his time there. It's fine with me. I was wondering if maybe he thought, or somebody thought, he needed some sort of rehab to help him with his alcohol issues, because he has had some problems with alcohol, handling his alcohol. He's had a couple of incidents this year in clubs, bar fights. But it didn't seem like that's what happened. He just went and got, as they say, ripped. And I don't mean ripped on alcohol. I mean ripped on weights, as in weightlifting. Or so they say. And Eric said he looks sensational. And he predicted to Eric that he would get 200 yards against the Seattle Seahawks. And after what Todd Gurley did at Seattle today, maybe he's got a shot. But the first thing the Cowboys got to do to keep their long shot playoff hopes alive is to go beat the Raiders in the Black Hole. And trust me on this, I have attended and covered many Cowboy Raider games and several at the Black Hole. And I worked in the Bay Area, and I've covered many games at that old Coliseum that's more of a mausoleum, but I still love it. That Oakland Alameda Coliseum. I'm not sure what they even call it now, who sponsors it. But it's a great old place. And I have a lot of fond moments and memories there. But in this case, you have to understand, this is like a division rival game. There's just always been something about the Raiders and the Cowboys. They have sort of the biggest auras of any two franchises in the league. They just have aura. They have controversial aura to them. They're kind of the same. They have a lot of bad actors, a lot of bad boys, a lot of police blotter regulars over the years both teams have had. And then the great irony is that Jerry Jones, when he bought the Cowboys in 1989, you can read my book, God's Coach, has a lot of this in there, that Jerry Jones was mentored by Al Davis. He was like little Al. He sat at the knee of Al Davis. They even invited the Raiders to have some practices against them in the first couple of training camps. And it was mostly, according to Jerry, so that Jerry could go to dinner with Al for those 3 or 4 nights the teams were together in whichever training camp, and that he could just hang out with Al and pick his brain and learn how to own and operate an NFL team as the owner / GM, which is what the great Al Davis was. I knew Al pretty well. And I liked Al a lot. I know he was subversive, rebellious, the ultimate maverick, taking on the league, and Jerry stepped right into his shoes. And I loved being around Al. Boy, he knew so much football. He taught me a lot of football. I loved being around Bill Walsh, who taught me a lot of football. And I spoke to Bill Walsh's business class, I forget what the name of it was, at Stanford Business School. And boy, I miss him. I miss him. I miss Al. Miss being around both of them. Just all-timers. And remember, Bill coached under Al for a while, learned a lot of football from Al Davis. And Jerry Jones did too. So these two franchises have deep connections, Cowboys Raiders. And this will not be easy for the Cowboys because there is sort of a natural mystique rivalry. It's the silver and black versus the metallic blue. And yet the Raiders have struggled all year. They've been, boy, that whole division has been supreme disappointments. But I would say the Raiders have been the biggest disappointment in all of football. The Giants would be right there. Denver would be there. But, man, I thought the Raiders were going to be really good. And I circled this game when the schedules came out as a big one. I thought this would be momentous. This would have high stakes. And now it has very little stakes, and both are long shot playoff teams. I know Raiders are hanging in there behind Kansas City. And I was shocked last night that Kansas City just did a number I shouldn't have been, but I picked the Chargers to actually steal the AFC West. Nobody gave them a shot. I did. They get off to an 0-4 start thanks to two games that were lost early because they had the wrong kicker. They lost on late kicks or misses. And here they came, and they had their moment in the sun at Arrowhead last night. Division right in the palms of their hands. And I guess Phillip Rivers just turned back into Phillip Rivers. People warned me, you can't trust him, and he's just been on a tear for the last 4 games, as had that team. I think it hurt them that Casey Hayward out of Vanderbilt University, the best school in America, he had become the best corner in pro football, and he hurt his calf in practice last week and was questionable for the game. And it looked like to me last night he shouldn't have played. And yet, you know who played really well for Kansas City? Darrelle Revis did. And I wish tonight and next Sunday and the following Sunday, I sure wish Revis were a Dallas Cowboy. I campaigned for it. I said either he and or Antonio Cromartie, one of his best friends, friend of the show, Undisputed, 9:30 to noon Eastern time on Fox Sports 1. Either one of those or both of them. This secondary for the Cowboys is so young, but it's starting to revolve around the son that is Sean Lee. And they ridicule me all the time on Undisputed. Sean Lee, what is he, godlike? No, he's not godlike. He's just the best middle linebacker or middle of the field linebacker in pro football. He's better than Kuechly. He's better than Bobby Wagner. Where was Bobby Wagner today? Ask Shannon Sharp if you would. Ask him where he was. I don't even remember the final score because I kept watching it. It was something like 42-7 or something like that. Rams win at Seattle, what's left of the Seahawks, and they will visit Jerry World next week, which is another reason I think the Dallas Cowboys can win out. What are their chances of making it in the playoffs, squeezing in the last playoff spot? It feels like 1,000,000,000. So many tiebreakers that they don't have. So many things. They're going to need help from so many people. I just want to see them win out. I want to see them look tonight against the Raiders the way they did against Washington, which came in dangerous at that point, or against the Giants. Remember, I got laughed at on Undisputed for saying this last week. The Giants were credible. They hate the Cowboys. That's a big division rivalry. Remember, they had gotten rid of their coach finally, and they had cleaned house. The GM's gone, and Eli's back. They had reinstalled Eli in his rightful quarterback position, and I thought it was going to be a hard game to win, and it was. It was 10-10 early in the fourth quarter, and finally Dallas exploded to go up, to run away with it 30-10. But the point is, I like Dallas tonight. I like their chances. I like Rod Smith had a coming out party up at New York at the Giants in New Jersey, and he goes about 230, and maybe he can be the quasi-Ezekiel Elliott tonight out of The Ohio State University before Ezekiel gets back. And Alfred Morris gives you an honest day's work, and I'm hoping Bryce Butler, once upon a time an Oakland Raider, once upon a time a USC Trojan, I hope he's coming back tonight. He's had a foot injury that cost him the game last week. He's the only receiver I have on my team who can get behind somebody. Dez has started to play a little better, regained some of his confidence, but they're just going to have to keep running the ball and making third down throws from Dak Prescott. I thought he played very well against Washington and very well at New York, and I think he's back. I think Dak is back on track, and I think you're going to see him have a nice game tonight. I don't know what's happened to Derek Carr. He's one of the big disappointments in the league this year, but I also expect the Raiders to play much better tonight. It's just a rivalry. It's Sunday night football. I think it'll be a battle, but I think the Cowboys should pull away and win. I think I called it 28-17 on Undisputed, and I'm going to stick with that because Sean Lee, they're just showing him now on NBC, is everything to the defense. The defense is terrible without him, and it's decent with him. Simple as that. Terrible without him, decent with him. He is the most valuable player to any defense in this league, and he's a Dallas Cowboy, and I hope he's okay. I never know if his hamstring's going to hold. I think maybe David Irving, I'm not even sure, maybe I haven't looked at the inactives yet, but I think David Irving could be back tonight from a concussion syndrome that he had, protocol. And I just want to see the Cowboys win out. I want to see them go to Philly for that last game with barely something on the line, just barely something, and I want to see them take it out on those fly, Eagles fly. Just one time, last game of the year, maybe the Eagles won't have that much to play for. How about them Rams, though? All of a sudden, this NFC is as wide open as I can ever remember it. And the Rams look like they got as good a shot as anybody of getting to the Super Bowl. But if the Dallas Cowboys do somehow eke in through the back door to that last playoff spot, trust me, they would be the team nobody would want to play. With Ezekiel back, and if, please God, if Sean Lee stays healthy and the rest of them stay healthy, they could peak and be right on schedule to be the most dangerous team in the playoffs, on either side of the playoffs. I would love them. If they get in the tournament and they have to play on the road, wild card, divisional, championship round, I would love them to win 3 road playoff games and get to the Super. I would love them. I would be all over them. But obviously, they got to get there first, and they need a whole lot of help. But the first order of business is tonight at Oakland Raiders. It'll be high drama. I think it'll be a wide open, sensational football game to watch. I'll be all over it. I'll be tweeting about it, and I will check back with you briefly after the game. I got to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, but I'm going to go ahead. I'll be back on Facebook. I just remembered the play they just showed on NBC. First down play in that last drive, Brady gets the ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it looks like it's going to be intercepted, and it wasn't. That's what happens. Brady gets one small break, and here he comes. Pittsburgh got no breaks today. Pittsburgh got robbed. As wild a regular season big game as I can ever remember, I feel honored and privileged to have watched it and gotten to talk to you about it. And now I get to watch the Dallas Cowboys against the Oakland Raiders. I'll take that. On Sunday I say, thank you, God. Sorry for you Pittsburgh Steelers, but we will talk about that game probably right out of the box tomorrow on Fox Sports 1. 9:30 to noon Eastern is Undisputed, me versus Shannon Sharp. I'm sure we'll do one topic on LeBron James because Shannon Sharp has to do that. We have to have at least one during the day, and now LeBron is saying he's going to shatter the mold of older players playing great. Now he's an MVP candidate. Well, he hasn't even turned 33 yet. And LeBron, if you're watching, if you're listening, no, I guess they're playing. Are they over yet? They played at 3 o'clock my time, 6 o'clock. I'm not sure. I haven't even paid any attention tonight. This is the one night I couldn't watch LeBron. But if LeBron, if you do see this later, you think you're playing better at 32 than Tom Brady is at 40? I think not. We will discuss tomorrow. I will discuss with you guys coming up right after the Cowboy game. I appreciate you watching. Remember, Undisputed is 9:30 to noon Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. Talk to you after the Cowboy game, Facebook Live.